All right. That does it for the regular season for Tennessee football. In 2023, the Vols win 48-24. Nico did get in the game for 2 drives. Maybe didn't play as much as I and many people would have liked, but you wipe the floor with Vandy. Vandy is absolutely horrendous, and so you finish the season on a high note there. You're headed to a bowl game, 8-win season, following a 10-win season, and we'll do a little decompression here, and not a ton to talk about with what happened in that second half, but we'll talk about kind of the postseason and everything that's about to happen. I'm Charlie Burris. That is former Vols quarterback Jonathan Crompton, who got a shout out during that second half. We'll talk about that in just a second too. We'll get to it all right after I tell you about our great sponsors. BetterHelp. Go to betterhelp.com/ATOZ Sports. Save 10% on your first month with BetterHelp. Zen Sports, the fastest growing sports book in Tennessee. Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey from Log Still Distillery. Use code make your own luck. There's sadly no promo code for the whiskey, but make your own luck, just like Tennessee's fast-paced Rattle and Snap offense with Rattle and Snap Tennessee whiskey. And finally, HelloFresh. Vols AZ free is your promo code for HelloFresh for free breakfast for life. Crazy offer from them. All right. 48-24. Just quickly, thoughts on that second half, if you have any.
I mean, not really. My biggest thought would be we can't have a turnover on the punt return. Give them a chance to get some points. I'm being nitpicky right now because it really wasn't. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't rah and all this stuff. It was kind of a very mundane second half. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it just, I don't know, it wasn't exciting. I was really, really hoping that Keaton would be able to haul in that deep ball for a touchdown.
Yeah.
But no, I think we did what we were supposed to do. Regardless of what anybody in the comments think, happy as hell for Joe for playing a really, really, really good game today. Almost 400 yards passing, 6 total touchdowns. Let me see. He's like 6 yards away from having 400 yards himself. 6 touchdowns. I mean, that good for him.
Absolutely.
And it kind of looked like the plan may have been all along him play 3 quarters and get out. Just kind of how it shaped up. So I'm happy for him and the seniors for going out on a high note, especially there in Neyland.
Yeah, it was a fun game overall. It was a little drawn out, a lot of penalties and just nonsense that happened in that game. But such is life with SEC officials. And on the whole, it was exactly what you would want out of this game. The only thing that you could really ask for is win by 40 instead of 30. I mean, it's just like that's really what this one came down to because Vanderbilt is just so bad. Vanderbilt is bad to the point where like they need to have a come to Jesus meeting with like the rest of the SEC.
Where's my Lou man at?
Lou took this one off. He likes to chime in.
Where you at?
Lou, a longtime listener for some reason, who's also a Vandy fan, but he checked out on this one, unfortunately. And Big Ten Jeff,
he was there. He was there before we started the halftime, and we hadn't heard.
That's true. And Big Ten Jeff took this one off too because his beloved Buckeyes just frickin' peed right down their leg in Michigan today.
Let's go hell to the victors, baby.
Man, yeah. How about that? That was the funnest outcome though. I don't really care who wins that. I really dislike them both at the end of the day. But the Michigan winning is the funnest outcome because now I think like Ryan Day leaving is kind of on the table. And
I don't mind Michigan. Like I don't root for them, but I don't really root against them unless we're playing them.
Yeah.
I despise Ohio State. Always have. I have zero reason why. Like my whole life, legit no
They're
reason what I do. But mark it down. Ryan Day, Texas A&M. Watch.
I mean, you saw it getting traction this morning. Bruce Feldman said it on that Fox morning show.
If he's not there, I think he's somewhere because we'll get back to our game. But when you've lost the last 3 of that game, they don't care that you're 11-1. Dude, he's 50. Get this, he's 56-7, and they're trying to run him out of town.
But it's 3 of those 7 were an important 3.
And well, all those 7 are also ranked opponents. So he's got a good, really damn good resume. But in that type of game, it don't matter. It doesn't.
Nope. Yeah, I mean, you had Urban going out there and like blowing games to Purdue and stuff, but he beat Michigan.
I mean,
so,
and that's the thing is he beat Michigan. So I could, and it kind of pertains to us because I think Ryan Day personally, I think he'll be it. If he doesn't take it, I think he's at least like the guy they go after for A&M because he fits that mold. High-powered offense, has a great
already have a lot of talent.
Quarterbacks, they got a lot of great talent on the team. If you get that, I don't think their whole team like up and skips town. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, exactly. You got to make a big hire there to keep guys out of the transfer portal. Now that I mean, as Tennessee fans, I want some of those guys in the transfer portal.
100%.
Whole set of those guys.
I'm just looking at all the grand scheme of college football where I think guys would go.
Yeah.
Us, obviously, I'm not afraid of him as a coach, but I do think he recruits really well.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And Ohio State would probably hire in-house. And what's the receiver coach?
I honestly do not know.
I'm losing my train of thought. It's killing me. Hold on.
Well,
regardless. Dude, we have nothing else. We have nothing else to talk about on the show today.
It's true. Well, here, this is something to talk about right here.
Though. No, he's the OC, Brian Hartline. I think he would be
Hartline, yeah. That is who they would go to.
I personally think that's who they would go to, like they do with Day. Keep it in house. And probably Ohio State fans are probably saying they would like that. I would prefer him stay there because he can't beat Michigan, and I think that's funny.
It is
because
funny.
I don't like Ohio State.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's kind of our side rant today.
Yeah, seeing Ohio State lose will never not be great. So I'm all for it. But here's a side note that happened during that second half. Joe Milton accounted for 6 touchdowns in that game. The last Tennessee quarterback to do that, Jonathan Crompton. Let's see, Memphis in 2009. Chris posted it right here. Chris in the comments, he said against Memphis in 2009. That was you, Cromp. What'd you think about?
We need more. We don't need a 14 or 15 whatever year stint in between. We need more of that. So
exactly.
I mean, kudos. Like I said earlier, kudos to Joe. He played lights out. Was having
Great
fun,
game.
putting the ball where it needed to be. Threw the ball accurately today. We really just wish that it would have happened all year that way. But it is a collective deal. I mean, even they said before the game when they were talking to Heupel during the week, and this is what I've been trying to say all year in the sense of, yes, he's still going to make the throws, but some of the routes and the drops that were not ran badly last year or not dropped last year, because it was a whole new receiving core if you really think about it, outside of Brew, and that's where it's been tough because it's always going to fall on the quarterback. Did he always play lights out? Not even close at all. But it was almost like, I go with like golf. If you're hitting your driver well and you're hitting your irons well, your putter sucks. Right? If you're hitting your driver bad, then your irons are hitting good and your putter's on. It was almost like for us, if our O-line was blocking well and Joe was throwing the ball well, our receivers didn't run the right routes. Or if they were blocking well and they run the right routes, he didn't throw the ball accurately. See what I'm saying? It was almost like, why? Like just those three, and I'm using the running backs in with the O-line and the receivers, depending on if they're running or throwing the ball. It's kind of that feel all year to me, where 2 out of those 3 segments were on. The third one just was so off that we couldn't get it going. And Mr. Jones, if your QB sucks, your offense sucks. Well, it's also if your receivers don't catch the ball, your offense sucks. If your O-line doesn't block, your offense sucks. If your running backs don't run, your offense sucks. It is a collect. That's why football is the ultimate team game. There's been games that he's played atrociously. We've talked about that. There's been games that he's played spot on, but the receivers didn't get open or whatever. So it sucks because and even Heupel said this, or at least they've said that he said it, that it was almost disappointing with the outcome of the team this year because we were and we are talented, but we should have had more. We should have had more production than we had just overall, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I just have to mention what Washington just did against Washington State. First of all, that game is tied right now.
Yeah, I got a text that it was tied, but that was like 20 minutes ago. What's going on?
It was 4th and 1 from Washington's own 25, I think. I'd have to go back and check the actual yard marker. Their own 25. A minute left in this game, and they actually went for it on 4th, and they got it. And it was a really great little play action, ran a guy behind them, handed the ball off to that guy. That was impressive. And now they're down to the opposing 27. So
that tells me that they know they couldn't
stop.
That tells me they couldn't. They know they can't stop Washington State's offense.
Well, that's gonna be a tough one. Just like with Auburn and Alabama, that's gonna be a tough last minute outcome there. And that's the whole thing we can talk about too. But wait a. Ooh,
it's 4th and goal from the 30. Don't even put all 11 in the end zone there, bud.
Literally,
don't even rush anybody.
Their best dude, and he had one guy on him in the end zone. My God,
no, but don't even rush anybody. Take all the linemen can't go downfield legally.
Yeah, exactly.
Legally, they can't go downfield. So why even rush anybody?
I mean, my goodness.
Put 11 on 5. I like my odds 11 on 5.
Yeah,
I do.
That was something. Way to go, Auburn. You really
that right there is why Hugh Freeze
let us all down.
He needs to be out of a job after year 1.
That's
to my
21
dad and our buddies in a group text. I've been saying it for 3 to 4 weeks. Hugh Freeze needs to be out of a job.
21-point loss to New Mexico State, and then that abomination. So way to go. But okay, now back to the game at hand. Let's talk quickly. Everybody's gonna want to know your thoughts on Nico, but we'll tell everybody what you thought about how he played in that little bit and how, bowl game and everything that's coming up. We're going to talk about it all right after I tell everybody about HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. The holidays are right around the corner. I mean, we just had Thanksgiving. And HelloFresh can take the stress out of dinner by delivering everything you need to cook up tasty meals right to your door, saving you tons of time. The holiday season can be hectic, and that's where HelloFresh's 15-minute meals come into play. These quick fixes help you get a wholesome meal on the table in less time than it takes to get delivery. And everyone wants to cut back on errands and spending time in checkout lines this time of year. So skip that extra grocery store trip and instead get fresh ingredients and delicious recipes delivered to you with HelloFresh. Just pick your meals, decide on a delivery date, and sit back. I've done this, and it is awesome. Can't endorse it enough. HelloFresh really is great. So go to HelloFresh.com/VolsAZFree, VOLSAZFREE, and use code VolsAZFree for free breakfast for life. That's one breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/VolsAZFree. Promo code VolsAZFree. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Now let's get to a crump that people want to know.
Well, before I do that real quick.
Okay.
Washington game, I'm not lying. The whole time you were talking, I'm not lying. It's 3rd and 4. They swapped formations 4 times during that promo. No, on one play. Swear to God. No. I'm not being funny.
No.
They would line up.
I
believe
it.
He would give them the signal. They'd move another formation 4 times to ready to run inside zone. They got the first down, though. But
that's all that counts.
I'm like, how many times are you going to change formations on the same play?
That is all that counts.
Receivers running from one side of the field to the other. They went from a bunch to the right to empty to a 2x2 to a 3-by-1 to the boundary, all in the same play.
And then right there on that play, Penix Jr. did the one thing you can't do and took a big fat sack there. And then now they're gonna kick for the win. But
sorry that that was.
It's an interesting game.
I would love to hear that play call. Personally.
Yeah. How did that go?
I just need to hear it. Like, is it just one word that you knew what you were doing or whatnot? But all right, sorry. Back to the task at hand.
I mean, Michael Penix Jr. once committed to Tennessee, I believe. And speaking of guys that committed to Tennessee,
I like him.
And he's great. I mean, you probably got Jaden Daniels with the Heisman at this point, but Penix Jr. has been right there.
Probably.
But another person that committed to the University of Tennessee and actually showed up at Tennessee was Nico Iamaleava. He played tonight. What did you think of his short time? Because here's the text that I got during that game from friends of mine. Wow, Nico is better than Joe. I wish Nico would have played more. Wow, I can't, you saw all of that all over the place. Your thoughts?
I mean, he played well. I'm not going to say he didn't. I know he probably had a lot of nerves, but there were a couple throws that on the same or normal, what I call the smoke route, just pop up, throw it out there. One of them got tipped. Now, granted, we should probably block a little better for it not to get tipped, but it got tipped. Another probably two were low. But other than that, I mean, he played well. He tried to Randy Johnson that thing on a tight end seam, which bad read on that one. But that's a design throw, so it doesn't matter. I mean, but I think he played well. It's just when you're playing in the fourth quarter against Vandy, it's hard to. That's the issue. Like Vandy's 2-10 for God's sake. That's why we threw for 449 total yards today.
Not a bad day overall.
That's what I'm saying. Not too shabby of a day. It just Vandy's not very good. So I think he played well for what he was asked to do. It's just hard to. We haven't gotten. Now that will be on the year. What, like 16 and 26 for the season? In that range, I'm spit firing that one.
That sounds right to me.
It's in that range. Or maybe 17 or something like that, where it's hard to just say, yep, he is the guy of the future at the moment because he's not got to play. It wasn't like Alabama did with Bryce Young. Well, you know what I mean? Where they blew his red shirt regardless because they were like, he's going to play anytime we can. But granted, they were also blowing dudes out that year.
Yeah.
Like constantly. So he played a lot. And that's where this will lead me right into. That's where I would like to know everybody's opinion. I think we go after a guy like Will Rogers to come in and compete. Hypothetically say Will comes in and wins the job. Great. We have the SEC's all-time leader in passing. Great. Then Nico is there for insurance. If Nico wins the job, great. Then we have the SEC's all-time leading passer as our number 2. Not too shabby of a situation is what I'm getting at.
Yes.
Because if we ever get into a situation in a year that the starter goes down, right now we do not have a backup that goes, he can hold us into that ball game, or he can go win the next 2 ball games for us. We don't have that guy right now.
No. I think I would like to see them at least try because you just have to. It's just two walk-ons behind Nico. Like that just is not the situation that you're looking for. If you want the ideal,
exactly.
Yeah, if you want the ideal situation, that is not it. And so I think Nico will be the starter ultimately. I highly doubt they get Will Rogers even if they try, but I do think they try to get somebody and probably do get somebody else. Would be my guess.
I'm gonna answer this question real quick. Mr. Jones, I've never said that he would be any worse than Joe. But how it works is if they're not any worse, they're going with the senior.
Yes.
Heupel has proven that's what I'm getting at. That's just what it is. But what I'm saying is, and yes, we do got that freshman coming in, but it's the if we want to build a dynasty and stop sitting here going, oh, well, why did this not happen? Why did this not happen? Why did this not happen? Then you got to do what the Nick Sabans do. You got to tell these dudes, you're going to have to compete your rear end off. You may not play for 2 years, 3 years, but if you stay and you get developed, you're going to be a first rounder. Look at Mac Jones.
Yep.
I mean, it's just what it is. You had 3 top 35 picks or whatever it was on the same roster at quarterback. Well, only one can play.
You do have
if we're trying to win consistently and be in that argument every year, we can't from a fan base as well. We can't shy away from. Yeah, Nico was a 5-star recruit. Well, then we need a proven veteran to come in and push him. Competition is the best coach, right? And that's just what it is. And somebody says Mac Jones. Oh, well, Mac Jones won a national championship, so I don't think he's the best NFL quarterback, but the bottom line is he won a natty and he blew people out every freaking year. And then that led in right into Bryce Young, who won a Heisman, the number 1 pick in the draft. So they had 4 right back to back, and 3 of them were in the same meeting room at the same time. So that's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying it has to be Will Rogers. I just saw his name on Twitter that said he was going to be in the portal. But to me, we got to go after somebody that can come in and compete to make sure that we are the best we can be in that room. Because we've all seen if our quarterback doesn't, we got to have a quarterback that if our O-line doesn't play well enough, can make a play.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing's ever perfect in this game. We got to have a quarterback that if our receivers don't run the right routes or can't get open, can go make a play. And right, Joe wasn't that guy, and we've talked about that all year. But that's what we got to have. We got to have competition in that room.
You do have Jake Merklinger coming in, 4-star. Obviously, he'll be a true freshman. I think that in this current QB room, that Gaston Moore would get top billing over Jake Merklinger for next year. I don't know. Merklinger is good. I mean, I think he's number 9 quarterback in the 2024 class, something like that. He's one of the best players from the state of Georgia. But I think you got to get another person. I agree with you on that. But let's go here next before we get into the true talking about the bowl game. There's already been a prediction for the bowl game, and I want to know what you think of the current bowl game prediction if it ends up actually coming true. Crump, but let's do this first. Tennessee 48, Vanderbilt 24. Tennessee finishes with an 8-4 record on the season. What is one word for how you feel at this moment? 8-4 on the season. Nice little 24-point win over the, as somebody I saw in the comments, somebody called them the commode doors.
That's actually
there. That's pretty
funny. Not gonna lie, slightly funny. Very creative. I like it.
But 8-4. How are you feeling right now? We got 100 people in here with us hanging out. How do you feel about this season as a whole and at this moment? And you got this postseason coming up with a bowl game. Hopefully, a Florida, a bowl game in the state of Florida, some kind of level like that. Coming up. So just drop into the comments there. Give us your one word. Then me and Crump will give you ours. That is, of course, after I tell you about, let me actually get my thoughts straight here. Who should it be in the spot? I don't want to, I can't give away any free advertising here. Better help.
There you go.
Sorry. It's still a live show. Look, it is what it is. If you're a Tennessee fan like Crump and I, you know how many years the Big Orange have shaved off your lives with the emotional roller coaster of college sports, or maybe the roller coaster of life is messing with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals. Regardless, if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human going through a hard time, therapy can give you tools to approach your life in a very different way. And that's where BetterHelp comes into play. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this is an important mission because finding a therapist can be hard, especially when you're limited to just the options in your area. BetterHelp's platform makes finding a therapist easier because it is online and remote. BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. Plus, with our link, betterhelp.com/ATOZ Sports, you get 10% off your first month. See a therapist because maintaining your mental health is just as important as maintaining your physical health. So this football season, check out betterhelp.com/ATOZ Sports and save 10% on your first month with BetterHelp. All righty. One word for feeling after 48-24 win over Vandy, and an 8-4 season comes to a close. These are interesting ones right off the top. Server says embarrassed. Pat says disappointed. Mr. Jones, who's been very anti-Joe Milton all season, he says Joe, no. Kenneth says disappointed. Frank says unimpressed. This is just freaking negative town over here in our comments. Todd says expected. Connie, it's 2 words, but we'll allow it. Gator Bowl. Roller coaster says JL. Regressed says Mr. Jones. Crompton, I'll throw it to you. Your one word for how you feel at the moment.
One word. I got to stay politically correct. You know, no. I'm gonna say excited for the future, and here's why. In Heupel's 3 years, he's only like 2 games behind the all-time win record for your first 3 seasons at Tennessee. So stop, get out your feelings. Everybody, stop, dude. Complain about him all day long. Say unimpressed, disappointed. But go back to freaking Jeremy Pruitt. Then go back to Butch Jones. Have I been critical? 100%. But it's my job to be critical, right? But the brutal reality is, he's got almost 30 wins in 3 seasons. We're like 26 or 27 wins, including bowl games, or it might even be 28. Like I said, I'm not 100% because of the bowl games in 3 seasons. You see what I'm saying? Like that. That's something to be very excited about for the future. Do we need to play better? Yes. I've been open about that. Do we need to play better defense? Yes. Do we need to tackle better? Yes. Do we need to play better coverage? Yes. Do we need to run better routes? Yes. Throw the ball better? Yes. All around? Yes. But the bottom line is, him top to bottom has this program in better state than it's been in the early 90s. That's factual. So that's why I'm going to use my one word is like excited, meaning excited for the future because of what he's done. And we'll talk about this in a minute about, do we need to possibly make some staff changes? I think so, personally. Yeah. And we can talk about that. But just from top to bottom, he almost single-handedly has this program to where we can now complain about an 8 to 9 win season.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. And we all thought we were going to be better than 8 wins this year. We all did. 100%. But that's where I'm going with. That's a good thing that we can be upset about an 8-win season this year. Dude, we were excited to get a 5-win season under Pruitt. I mean, let's just call it like it is. You know what I mean? Obviously, 5 might be a little exaggerated, obviously. But
6.
That type of stuff. So there's a lot that goes into it, into a game. And Mr. Jones, dude, we get it. You don't like Joe. Get over it. We all understand that now. We're there with you. Cool. Well, you don't have to deal with them anymore. Cool. I don't really care.
Yeah. That's now, I mean, I think the past, and obviously now is the time to kind of decompress from that. But I'll say zen. That's my one word.
Okay.
I'm not ecstatic. I'm not satisfied. I'm also not, raging mad, just embarrassed, nothing like that. You just, hey, look, to your point that you're making there, I mean, you really kind of said where I was going to go. I cannot be mad about what happened this season. I don't have to be satisfied with it. I don't have to be happy with it. But I'm not raging mad. I'm just kind of, hey, It is what it is. That's where you're at. You got to now go and have bigger expectations because you have your star quarterback coming up and all of these things. I mean, that's these are conversations for the future. But I'm not going to go and just like, there are people saying that we should think about firing Heupel, and
I know.
you're off your freaking rocker. You're off your rocker. 8 win
I'm with you.
season, potentially 9, and no, absolutely
And
not.
that's why I went off that little rant that I did. I'm just curious of what Mr. Jones says. Facts, the truth hurts. All right, watch. I'm gonna play a little game because we have time. It's the last one of the regular season. Why not? All right. I'm gonna throw out random SEC quarterback stats, and I want you to guess who they are. All right, Charlie.
Go ahead.
And it's gonna be. I'll give you like completion percentage, not total completions versus attempts, but just percentage, touchdowns, interceptions. All right. Let's see. We've got right here 57 or 56%, 20 touchdowns, 9 picks versus 66%, 19 touchdowns, 6 picks. Who do you think those were? And I'll give you the yardage too. I'll do yardage too. With the first one was 2,234 yards and the second one's 2,267 yards. Who are those?
Well, one of them's Joe.
Nope.
No. Oh, it's not. Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be like
Joe. No, you'll see. You'll see.
KJ Jefferson and who's some of the others?
So it was Devin Leary and Jalen Milroe. Oh, by the way, Jalen Milroe is on an 11-1 team. Oh no.
Yeah.
All right. Here's 2 more. 3,300 yards, 72%, 21 touchdowns, 5 picks. It'll be let's see. I'm scrolling down. 2,800 yards, 65%, 20 touchdowns, 5 picks.
I think one of those is Radler.
Nope. That's Carson Beck versus Joe. Get off your high horse, Mr. Jones. If you look at the stats, it ain't as bad as you think. Could he have played better? Yes. But stop making it sound like he's the dude. You ready? I'll go. He could definitely be KJ Jefferson.
Cool.
Right? I'm not being rude, but he could be that. Could we have thrown better or for more yards in a couple of these games? Yes. If we have those 2 games, we throw for more than 100 yards. Then he's at that point, if you look at those numbers, and he's going to be number 2 in the SEC in yardage.
Yeah.
At that point, that's all I'm trying to get at is ultimately, could he have played better? Yes. Not going to lie. I've said that all year, but don't put a season on one player in this sport. Baseball, you can be like, hey man, that pitcher threw 9 innings and gave up 15 home runs because that is the pitcher physically against the batter. Basketball, he missed 14 free throws, whatever. I don't know. Right? That is physically on that dude. But in football, it's the ultimate team game. Ultimate team game. Our front 7 on defense played lights out most of the year. Our back 4 did not, and it made our defense look bad, didn't it? It did. And we talked about that.
Yep.
Well, the front 7 played stellar, but the back 4 didn't, so everybody's going, our defense sucks, including me. But it wasn't the front 7. It sure as hell wasn't the D-line.
No.
That's all I'm trying to get at is it's an ultimate team game. We should be thankful that our complaint is a potential 9-win season right now. Like, that's just what it is. And nobody said the quarterback's not the most important player on the team, but he cannot run the routes. Nico can't go run the routes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the one I talked about, Randy Johnson, that ball in there, if the tight end runs a little more of a crisp route and keeps it what's called high, meaning more vertical towards the goalpost, instead of bending it across the field, Nico has an easy completion, but he didn't. So I'm complaining about the ball, but in reality, the tight end needs to run a better post route or seam route. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm putting it on Nico, but it wasn't on Nico, if that makes sense. Like, it was a combination of the route and the ball, but if the route's better, it's an easy ball. That's what football is.
Let's run through a few more one words. Chris says mid. Dom says average. Kathleen says mediocre. some theme there. Trish says, optimistic. There's a positive one, Trish. Coming through with the positivity. So one person out of our Debbie Downer fan base.
Thank you, Trish. Thank you, Trish.
All right. Well, let's do move on to this right here. Kenneth had a couple of super chats here, but he asked, he said, our defense sucks. It has for the entire Heupel era. I feel major changes are needed on defense, especially on third down. And I'll throw it to you, Crump.
I mean,
do we need to make changes on defense and obviously on the staff?
Don't necessarily know if we need to make a defensive coordinator change, but there was a really good chance that once the bowl game's over, when they do their exit meetings, that if I'm Heupel, I have a serious talk with our DB coach. You know what I mean? Because the scheme, if you look at it, our scheme is there because look at the front seven. That's all a part of the scheme. We're getting pressure. We're doing this stuff, but we're not winning the quote-unquote one-on-one battles on the back end. So there's something disconnected there. So it's not like I don't necessarily think we need to go defensive coordinator out. But Martinez, there may need to be a conversation between him and Heupel. That says, here's my expectation. And obviously it's not that he hasn't done it, obviously, but just this is how we're going to go moving forward. You got to do this as this. Essentially, kind of like Iowa being funny did with the head coach's son, the offense coordinator, that they put in his contract. We had to average so many points. That type of stuff. So that's where I would go defensively. Is I wouldn't necessarily say the coordinator, but I'm 100% going to consider switching DBs.
And we just quickly to answer, Timothy McGee said earlier. He followed up he asked the question at halftime. He asked about was it 2018 that had so much?
Yeah, 2008.
I'll
give you a quick synopsis of it. Who is the highest paid player in the NFL outside of a quarterback typically? Left tackle.
Oh, there you go.
Because that's the blind side of the quarterback, typically. So a left tackle is a left tackle for a reason. A guard is a guard for a reason. Typically, centers and guards have different body styles, but they're also used to playing certain sides. The hard part about a lot of that stuff was our offensive line flipped sides every play. Which if you're an offensive lineman, it's your brain's thinking a different way every play. I'm setting this way. I'm kicking with my left foot. Oh crap! Now I'm kicking with my right foot, and it makes run game stuff different. It makes your technique different in the run game, and it sure as hell in the pass game. So we did that, and I specifically remember. I will not say the player's name, but he played on the left side of the line. And we're at UCLA, and the third play of the game gets in the huddle and goes, Crump, I'm sorry, but when I go to the right, we're effed. I don't play. No. Because he was
that's not great.
Side. And that right there is that season in a nutshell. And it wasn't the player. It was why. Like, why? Why are we doing that? And also the numbers. If you play football, your even numbers are which way? Right. Oh. Odd numbers are left. That system, even numbers went with the strength. So 0 could be right and or left. 1 could be left and or right. That right there is that season in a nutshell. With just the system on how it was put together. But it wasn't, there's a lot of things behind closed doors that I will not say on here that were not of Dave's doing. Dave is as you see what he's done at Wake Forest, just overall, Wake Forest is a very hard place to win. Just call that like it is.
It's a good job.
Recruiting wise, like it just, so what he's done is tremendous. What he did at Bowling Green was tremendous when he left Tennessee. What he did at Richmond was tremendous. There was a lot of things set up not in his favor. I'll just tell you that me and Dave have talked about since. But that's pretty much that season in a nutshell. That's the only time in my life I've ever had that type of like flip flop. Hell, we didn't do that in youth league.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
And I did not know that about that season. But so that there you go.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
You go. Pretty much nobody's really ever talked about that stuff after. It was, it's part of it. It is what it is. You still got to try to go do your stuff, but it goes back to our conversations about this year. It's the ultimate team game. When one person is not on the same page as 10, all 11 look bad.
Yep.
Just what it is.
Well, let's go to
and for Timothy real quick, because what he said is his scheme worked everywhere else but here. You're right. He did. But here's the thing that I should have said. He didn't run the system after he left Tennessee.
There you go.
One of our staff members went to Bowling Green with him, and was still friends with a lot of us, and said that, and I quote, that scarred him so much that he refused to call the plays once he left Knoxville.
Well, you've left some breadcrumbs there that I think people could pick up. So we do have to do this. The final sponsor segment of the show.
Yeah.
Stat of the game. We kind of bypassed the game a little bit there. Just
we did.
Let's do it. But it is the rattle and snap. The final. Well, no, we'll have this for the bowl game too. It depends. Our sponsors change for the bowl game sometimes, but the rattle and snap stat of the game. Rattle and snap has been too good to this show, but obviously I got to tell you about them. Few things go better with a Tennessee sports victory, just like the one we just watched. Then a great whiskey, and I'm talking about Rattle and Snap Tennessee Select Straight Whiskey. Rattle and Snap is a whiskey for those who make their own luck. There's a 4-year and an 8-year version. We've had both on this very show. They go great in cocktails, great neat in a glass. Go get your hands on a bottle in stores across the state of Tennessee. But Rattle and Snap is also available in Kentucky, Indiana, and Mississippi. Run, don't walk to get Rattle and Snap Tennessee Select Straight Whiskey for those Tennessee sports victories. And follow Rattle and Snap on Instagram at Rattle and Snap Whiskey. I don't have the stats directly in front of me, but there were plenty to choose from tonight because the defense was all over the place. The offense put up like 600-ish yards total. But do you have one?
I do, and it's not where anybody's going to think I'm going, probably.
Okay.
3 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Jacob Warren.
Nice.
He was our leading receiver at halftime. Hadn't played a lot this year. Has got 12 catches for 100 yards the whole season. Awesome to see him get in there and get some love. That was fun to watch. So that's my stat of the game, because there's a lot to choose from. I mean, there really is.
Yeah, I mean, you can also bring up McAllen Castles had a touchdown in that game.
Yeah,
it was just a good game for the tight ends in general.
It was. We had 2 receivers over 100 yards.
Yep, Ramel and Squirrel both.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it was a really solid game, obviously, for everybody, and Vanderbilt being as terrible as they are facilitates that a little bit. But I mean, I just got to go here and just commend him, man. Joe Milton, 383, 22 for 32, for 383 through the air, 4 touchdowns through the air, and then rushing 5 carries for 11 yards for 2 touchdowns. I mean, just absolutely crazy. 6 touchdowns accounted for Joe Milton. Just give the man his flowers. He finished the regular season with probably the best game of his career. And so there you go. You gotta just hand it to him, even though Nico's been what everybody wants to talk about. Nico. But no, I mean, Joe played awesome in that game, and kudos to him. And let's finish with this, Crump, because I got to go eat. I haven't had dinner yet. The bowl game. Here's been the prediction for this bowl game. And maybe, I think we did this last year. You came on with me and Zach, I think, in between the regular season bowl game. Maybe we can do that again this year. And maybe talk about it after the bowl game is announced. But the current prediction is this: Gator Bowl against North Carolina. Mac Brown's North Carolina Tar Heels. Who is North Carolina playing tonight?
NC State. Hey, but that could be over under 102.
That's going to be offense heavy, defense light.
That would be a fun one to watch. I'll be honest. I would not be mad at that one.
Yeah, it would be a good time. Obviously, Drake May is really great. I wish he played somewhere other than North Carolina because he would have a better team around him to play. But regardless, that is where he's at, and his
whole families went there.
Yeah, Luke May, national champion on North Carolina's basketball team a few years back. I mean, it's in his blood, so you can't totally blame him. But yeah, that would be a really fun game. Also, NC State has been talked about for that because at the moment, actually, NC State is ranked and North Carolina is not. They're both 8-3. I don't literally. It might be the outcome of that game is who goes to the Gator Bowl. I don't know.
It very well may be because I don't know off the top of my head what like conference ranking would get the Gator Bowl from the ACC. I don't know.
It might just be kind of wild card, just like choose.
I got you.
This team goes here. This team goes
so
there.
Is
because
that
the Mayo Bowl's that way too. SEC, ACC, I think.
God.
Don't send us there, please.
Please, Jesus. Is that the only prediction right now is Gator?
So this past week, every single one that I looked at, it was like 6 different predictions were all Gator Bowl. I don't know if just like
there's a really good chance we go to Gator Bowl then.
Yes, I agree because the national media guys like talk to the bowl representatives and maybe they just centered in on Tennessee. And I mean, you knew Tennessee was going to beat Vandy. Vandy stinks out loud. So they could already kind of pick or choose whoever they wanted to with a team like Tennessee, where it was already kind of set in stone. They were going to be an 8-win team. So, I think
that's pretty accurate then. I mean,
I'll be so happy. Is it the Camping Bowls in Orlando? Was this the former? No, the Outback Bowl was no longer the Outback Bowl. It's called something else. I can't keep up with all of them. Let's see.
I'm clicking on it real quick. It'll tell me I'm on.
If it's already in the comments.
6 now. Yeah, somebody may beat me to it.
Jacksonville.
But when is it though?
Oh, it's December 29th, I believe.
Okay.
At noon, in the middle of what is probably a work day for most people. So that's great.
That's just an odd. Well, so Fox Sports has now. I don't know when this, but it was NC State, Tennessee, Gator Bowl.
Okay. I saw both.
This was posted. Oh, this was a few days ago. Never mind. I was just looking for the date, and that's what it said.
But yeah, December 29th, according to the official website, noon on December 29th. So I would say plan for that one if you want to go down to Jacksonville.
Last question for me.
Okay.
I didn't know there was a bowl called the Pop-Tart Bowl. You think they get a lot of Pop-Tarts that game?
I would hope so.
They get a lot of Pop-Tarts during the week. Hey guys, here's your dinner. Here's your dinner, strawberry Pop-Tarts.
Where's the Pop-Tart Bowl played?
I have no idea.
Where's the Pop-Tart corporate headquarters? Are they?
they have North Carolina, Kansas State predicted. So obviously that could be a NC State game. Hey, if you like Pop-Tarts, go to the Pop-Tart Bowl. Just throwing it out there.
Pop-Tart Bowl.
Hold on. I'm going to tell you. Where is the Pop-Tart Bowl played?
Oh, is that the Citrus Bowl? The new name for the Citrus Bowl?
It says camping. It can't be. It can't.
Oh,
be.
it's the Camping World Bowl. It's the Camping World Bowl, not the Citrus Bowl. Okay.
Now they changed it to that Pop-Tart Bowl. That's
ACC
awesome.
versus Big 12.
That is unreal. That is unreal. Love it.
When was the last time I had a Pop-Tart?
Hey, I'll tell you what bowl I would love to go to if I were a college student, knowing I was not going to ever win a national championship. Bahama Bowl.
Oh, heck yeah. It's like Western Kentucky versus Central Michigan.
They've got Western Kentucky versus Bowling Green.
Oh, hey, there you go.
So if you're transferring for your last season, just go to Western Kentucky, guys. You're going to go to the Bahamas on them.
I've always said about
play in front of like 14 people at the bowl game, but it's okay. You're in the Bahamas.
I mean, I've always said that about college basketball. College basketball teams get it so much better. The Tennessee basketball team. Tennessee basketball team was in Honolulu, Hawaii, for Thanksgiving, and then it was the Maui Invitational. And it's not the only one. There's also the Diamond Head Classic. There's one in the Bahamas, the Atlantis.
Yeah.
Like, dude, they get it. It's sweet for basketball.
I was joking with my wife the other day. I was like, and we were watching the Tennessee game in Hawaii. And I was like, you see Tennessee and Hawaii, you see Carolina was in Atlantis, North Carolina, and all this stuff. And then I was like, how pissed would you be if you were Clemson? They were in Asheville, North Carolina.
That's too bad.
But don't get me wrong, Asheville's a cool place. Hell, we live in Asheville. But I'm just saying, like, when they're going to Hawaii and they're going to the Bahamas, they're going to Asheville?
No, there's some. I want to say there's ones that are in like Shreveport. Like, it's just
okay.
At least some of those teams just get screwed.
No.
Yeah.
But I was laughing because I was like, we watched the one for Clemson played Davidson in the championship, and I was like, hold on. Tennessee's going to Hawaii in a few weeks. Who screwed the pooch on this one?
They went to Hawaii, played the number 2 team and then the number 1 team in America in back-to-back games. I mean, it was just the premiere of the premiere.
Well, we screwed the pooch against Kansas. We just couldn't hit a shot.
Nothing.
We had the looks; they just weren't going in.
It was so brutal.
You know what I mean? But that's the thing with college basketball. You can screw around and lose 5 or 6, 7 ball games. Next thing you know, you're still a number 2 seed.
Yeah, I think this Tennessee team, they're going to lose like 8 games, and they're going to be like a 3 seed. We're
still going to be good though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just judging from what I'm seeing right there in the SEC so far, Alabama's not as good as last year. They lost to Ohio State over the weekend. Arkansas has lost like 3 games in a row. And so it's going to be a wide open year for the SEC, but that's a whole other topic there for basketball. Anything else? The regular season come to a close. Cromp, anything else for the folks at home before we bounce?
No, just like we tell you guys thanks for watching. It's been fun. We love interacting. Thanks to our sponsors. It's always fun to watch Tennessee football and come on here and talk about it. The good, the bad, the ugly. Hope you guys enjoy it because we sure as hell have a fun time doing it. We enjoy every week. So thank you guys for watching. Obviously we'll wait and see what goes on with the bowl game. See where we get paired up and go from there.
100%. I echo every single bit of that. This has been another awesome season. Thank you to everybody who watched. Seriously, we can't could not do it without you. So stick around. The Big Orange podcast with myself and Zach Reagan. Like I said, maybe we got to get Cromp on between now and the bowl game, and we can try to do that and see what we can get figured out. But that's Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern time is the Big Orange podcast with me and Zach, and then of course me and Crompton will be back for the bowl game. So tune in for whatever bowl game that might be, probably the Gator Bowl. And thanks again for watching. Do what?
That's what it's looking like. They're going to be pretty spot on with that one because they knew we were going to win today and all that. So
exactly. But thanks again to everybody for watching, and I guess we'll talk to y'all at the end of December.